watching Numbskull News, and today I'm going to talk about Notre Dame. I don't really talk much outside of the Big 12 all that much, but Notre Dame has been a topic of consternation in the media for a long time because they won't join the Big 10. Well, I kind of did some rough math, and I don't think they really need to. So far, they've been playing their cards pretty well. And I think with a little help, possibly from the Big 12 in the future, I don't think they'll ever have to join a conference. Not fully, anyway. And of course, with the news of the CFP, apparently everyone's going to sign on the dotted line, which means everyone's going to get a big fat raise, but no one more than the Big 10 and the SEC. But, Notre Dame's going to get a little piece of that action as well. So I don't believe that it's doom and gloom for Notre Dame. Oh my God, they got to join the Big Ten. It's over. The independent run is over. They've been boxed in. They're cornered. I don't believe that's necessarily true. Now, let me pull out some of this math and show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, well, the Big Ten, starting in 2026, I believe this is right around the number is 120 million per school. Now it's probably less than that, but I'm being generous here. I'm using all the top numbers as much. A lot of this is me rounding up or down, okay? That's just the way it is. So, can Notre Dame get somewhere around that? Well, let's follow the money. Right now, currently they make roughly 25 million a year from NBC. Now, there are estimates from 22 to 25. I took the high estimate, sue me. We know they make about 17 million. That was their last payout from the ACC, and that was according to Notre Dame's tax filing for the year. So we know that's pretty accurate. The CFP currently, like all the other Power 5 schools, they're making $5 million a year on that for a grand total of $47 million. That's not going to cut it. However, there is some new money. All right. This is where things get a little tricky here. NBC. No one's talking about their new deal. It was announced, all that stuff, but of course they're a private university. They do not have to disclose what they are making. So, I'm saying 50. Now, John Orand in Sports Illustrated said that his estimate is closer to $60 million. Okay? And that's John Orand. But I'm just going to say they doubled up for right now. Maybe we'll come back to that later. The new CFP, they'll be making around 12 million. I've heard more, but we're going to keep it about 12 million. And you combine that with what they're pulling out of the ACC, so that total is 79 million. Now, you're right there with what the Big Ten is currently making. But keep in mind, these are going to be the CFP, the new NBC deal. That's in 2026, 2025, I think, for the NBC deal. The CFP will kick in, I believe, in 2026. So, by then, it'll be 79 million. Not freaking bad, but what about the ACC? How do you get that money up, right? So the NBC monies went up. The CFP monies went up. How do we get this ACC putrid $17 million? How do we get that up? Well, ESPN is not going to continue their deal with the ACC. They're not going to extend to 2036. Everyone can scatter. And I do believe that Notre Dame, before they ever decide to join a conference, they're going to exhaust every avenue and look into everything, including the Big 12, especially at that time. So, what can the Big 12 offer? Now, to start with, I say $25 million. All right. I think because like the 17 million that comes from ESPN, but let's just say that includes some tournament payouts, NCAA tournament payouts from the ACC and a few other things. So I'm just going to be nice and say ESPN would pay about 15 million. Let's say that's their normal amount, and Fox will kick in the additional 10 million to get them to 25. Now, and I believe ESPN and Fox would love for Notre Dame to just skip on into the Big 12. That's what I believe. So, Notre Dame, at that point, their total would be $87 million. We're getting there. We're getting there. I don't know if that's enough. Now, let's look at, could the Big 12 give Notre Dame for 5 games plus their basketball and all the other sports, minus hockey, of course, would they be willing to give them a full share? 31.7 million a year. You may say that's crazy. For 5 games, you're going to give them a full share? Notre Dame is a monster brand. All right, look at it this way. What they would do for you in 2031, you have that association with Notre Dame. What does that do for breaking your basketball away from your football? That's huge. Plus, having those 5 games that you can in turn take to your media partner and say, hey, we got 5 games every year with Notre Dame. That's worth way more than what we're getting now. This is going to help you get paid in 2031. And if the media partners don't want to dish out the full share, maybe they'll go to 25, but they won't go north of that. The other 16 teams, it would be $375,000 a year for the 16 teams right now currently to split to get them to a full share. And of course, if you get other ACC teams, they would pay in on that, and that number goes down. Is it worth it? Hell yes, it's worth it. So where does that take you? That takes Notre Dame to 93.7 million. Damn, that's close. That's pretty damn close. And of course, it doesn't include any corporate sponsors that Notre Dame has at their disposal. And it didn't include this little NCAA payout. We're going to basically round it to $95 million total. Now, is that enough to keep you independent? Now, at the max, this Big Ten money here, you're basically, by this crazy math here, you're basically $25 million short. But keep in mind the kind of money Notre Dame makes on their corporate sponsors. You can say, well, Big Ten has big-time corporate sponsors too. Yes, but right now that's being divided 18 ways. Notre Dame is divided one way. And keep in mind, what if John Oran is right? It's closer to 60 million. That could be $105 million a year for Notre Dame in the Big 12. That would be the top dollar right there. And if that's the case, ladies and gentlemen, you can welcome Notre Dame into the Big 12 one day. Now, I know. It sounds like a bunch of speculation. I'm out here just throwing out horse shit with numbers, right? But a lot of these numbers are pretty factual and are definitely within the realms of logic when you're talking about Notre Dame. Again, a private university that does not have to disclose jack shit about what they get monetarily. The only thing, there's some tax stuff, but that doesn't get into media rights. They're the bulk of their money. But if I'm the Big 12 and, I'm a TCU fan, would I mind TCU paying $375,000 a year for Notre Dame? No. You'd be stupid not to do that. Everything that brand brings you. I mean, everything it brings you. The prestige. You're talking about a blue blood. You're talking about one of the oldest, biggest universities and brands in the country. That is a huge feather in the cap and will help you in 2031 in your next media rights deal. And of course, when the Big 12 benefits from that, so does Notre Dame. Another reason for them to join, it'll help them stay independent. But it's not a brand that's just going to rule over everybody. They're only playing 5 games. They would get voting rights, all right, because all their other sports will be in the Big 12. I just don't see a problem with something like that happening. And I think we can help each other out. The Big 12 has a lot to gain here, and so does Notre Dame. If that's just a few cents, off, and that's not quite enough money for Notre Dame, at least that's what you think. Remember, I always got that Vatican cash. And, buddy, that's a mountain. That's a freaking mountain. All right, well, that's all I got for this crap. And I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.